living the adventure. Axis of Awesome.
Incoming transmission.
Oh, I got the wrong intro. Shit. Oh, beginner's bad luck. Anyways, guys, tonight I've got a special guest, but before we get going, I want to go over a few things. Welcome back to Who's in the Shop Live. We're relaunching it. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be something new for 2025. As you guys saw on the What's in the Shop Sunday, I am getting rid of some stuff and bringing in some new stuff. So this live stream is going to take place on Thursdays, hopefully moving forward at 7 p.m. We're going to go for a little bit over an hour. We plan on having some old favorites and some new guests. And the show's going to air until June. Then I'm going to go on vacation. And then we're going to be taking a month off. Then I'm coming back with Japanese July, where we're going to do some reviews of Japanese imports. And then we're going to bring the show back after that and continue it till fall. And in the event that we don't have anybody on the live stream, we'll just maybe have a bullshit session. So let's get going. Tonight's guest, since I screwed the intro up, he's a guy that needs no introduction. He's one of my favorite people, one of the awesome creators, Mr. Jim Egner of TK560.
Howdy,
Jim,
howdy from Texas.
Well, that's funny. I got up this morning and I've created 2 live streams simultaneously. You and then Murray Corrigan's coming on next.
Okay.
I did not realize that when you do these live streams, if I in StreamYard, if I delete a video and put a new one in, it keeps it for both of them. So I got to figure that out.
It's all
whatever.
good.
Yeah, well, everybody knows who you are, so it doesn't really matter.
They could be good or bad, I suppose. I don't know.
I guess. So, man, what's going on? How you been?
Oh, been super busy. Life and the opposite has been pretty much my this past year. It's been family issues, really.
Yep.
A lot of stuff going on there. So it's kind of kept me kind of in the background, to be honest. I'm still out there doing stuff, but been super busy and we're I'm trying to get back into stuff. So
yeah, I've tried to touch base with you every so often about stuff. So I kind of reach out to you on Messenger, and yeah, man,
if it's not Facebook or something, that's a great way to keep people involved. I try to post a few things every once in a while over there, something new that I'm working on, but I'll do a little something and then I'll get super busy and, it'll take forever to get back around to something. I'm getting a lot of people asking for some custom stuff. So that's kind of new for me. So it's all good. I'm trying to get back. Some things have happened here recently. So I'm trying to get back into more activity, I suppose.
Well, when I started to think about doing a live stream again, it was probably, last year, I was really going to try to get into doing a live stream. I couldn't figure out a date. I couldn't figure out a time. And it just didn't really know what to do. And then after the beginning of this year, I kind of put a plan together, talked it over with the family. Like, when can Dad have some time to get on and do a live stream? And we decided Thursday nights are pretty good. And you have been my all-time most popular guest on my live stream. I don't know. I think that's great. And I thought, man, let's bring you back because I love having you on. I love talking 3D printing and G.I. Joe creations with you. So
thanks, man. I appreciate that. I enjoy being here.
Oh, it's fun. I loved talking to you on Paul Knapp's show too. I think that's where we kind of first met each other, was talking about stuff on that show. So
it may have been.
So
it's been a little bit of water under the bridge there. So. Oh
man, no kidding. So have you been working on anything new?
Yeah. If you want me to do a little show and tell,
let's go through it. Let's go through it.
Just a few things. This is something that a lot of people have been asking me about, and I'm going to throw it up here and see if you know what it is. So,
okay. Oh, let me see here. It is a wheel.
Yep.
To the, I don't know what it is. What is it?
It's an Irwin amphibious.
Oh.
some of the Irwin vehicles. That's one that somebody's asked about.
Okay.
Here's another one. It just came off the printer yesterday, so I'll kind of hold it up in pieces here.
Oh wow, that's the landing gears up for the Panther jet.
Yep. That's another one. That one is 99% there.
Rad.
This one's new in my store. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah. Hurricane spotter test cylinder, whatever, sample tester.
Weather vane or something like that. So I'm working on that. This is hot off the printer as well. It's
Yep.
That one's, I've had this one for years and I just never got around to printing it for whatever reason.
Now, are you going to be able to make the flag for it, or are you just going to use a decal?
I'm probably going to do a vinyl. They make a bumper sticker material that's vinyl.
Okay, yeah.
And so I can laser print that on sticker type material, and so I could probably print it and then stick it on there, and it'll be stuck on there like a vintage one. So, that's kind of the. It's an incomplete, so I don't really like showing the stuff that's not quite.
I get it. Yep.
Here's one that I just got finished. My wife kind of likes this. This is a Mabushi replica torpedo. So it's non-functional. So
it's awesome.
But it does screw together, and it does move around, and it does interface with the sea sled and stuff like that.
The one-man sea sled. Yeah, that's
thermal terrain scanner. We were talking before the show started. The clear is the part that's really the challenge, and so I've been experimenting around with a bunch of different techniques and tricks and that sort of thing. That's real. How would you say it? Real challenging to do in clear and thin, and do it on a filament printer. Resin is a beat down. I don't like messing with resin prints if I can avoid it at all costs. This is something that I'm working on for Greg. For the boat motors.
I got a question about that here in a little bit too. The boat motors. So after you get through your show and tell, I got to ask you something about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stuff you've probably seen before. These are the combat construction helmets. I'm over here on the side here. Combat construction helmets.
Yeah.
I'm printing these now with a significantly thinner print head. Explain the technology a little bit on that. Is normally your print heads are a 0.4 millimeter diameter, and you normally print at a 0.20 millimeter layer height.
Okay.
And so the smaller the better. So I've on my little printer, I'm printing now with a 0.2 print head at a 0.08 millimeter height. So it's an organ, we're talking angstroms, if you will, of layer. So
yeah.
It's approaching injection molding look, which is super cool. So this was my test shots that I made for that. So let's see, what else am I working on? Oh, here's a top secret one. I'll see if you know what that is.
Is that part of the recoilless rifle?
No, that's a good one, but no, that's the jackhammer for the
okay.
Yep. And then this is part vintage and part original. So I don't know if you can see that or not. This is
for the Minesweeper.
Yeah, Minesweeper. I was missing one, so I had to make one. Let's see what else is going on. I've been playing around with what I'm calling a basics line. It's just diorama type of stuff. It's kind of funny. My mom I guess you could say she was a toy collector when she was a little girl, and she had these little cans and these little boxes of cereal and these little milk cartons and these little Coke bottles, and they were all probably smaller than 1/6 scale. And at some point she got a printer's drawer and she put all this stuff in there. And I was at Dad's house here not long ago. I was looking at that. I'm going, you know what? That would be super cool to be able to print some of these things, like Campbell soup cans and stuff like that for Joe. And so I've been sort of playing around with the idea of doing that. And I started with something a little bit bigger, and that's a 1/6 scale fuel drum.
That's great.
And so, you know, a lot of people, I know you make those out of found objects and stuff.
Coffee can fuel drum. That's cool looking, man.
And so I thought, well, you know,
I like it.
I'll jump in there with that and see what.
Get in here, yeah.
Robert DeCastro has been working on something for him, and this is sort of it's real close to being ready to go. So this is it's sort of a retro future style table that he and I have been kind of working on a little
That
bit.
Is sexy.
So this
like that.
And then working on the data center, and it's getting close. So anyway, I've got a little bit more detail. In fact, while we were talking, my printer just finished this part that'll go in the middle here. So
oh man, that is dope looking.
So I guess that's what I've been working on there. And then the big one, this is another one that Robert's been messing with. This is kind of what I'm loosely calling deep core. It's got, you know, rocket engines and rivets on it, and a rotating. This one's not glued together, so I've got to ship it out. But it's got rotating drill nozzle or whatever on there. So see something else. Cotswold asked, could I make a two-seater? Can I make a two-seater for the ATV? And so you can cram two figures in this replacement seat for the ATVs.
You can?
Yeah, they're tight. And it's really more of a Super Joe scale thing. So I think that's really kind of more what he's working towards is kind of a Super Joe thing. Let's see what else. I got all kinds of stuff here, dude. I'll drag you down with me if you let me keep going.
I think
on those. So what else?
I love it, man. That's a lot of cool stuff. I'm really digging. First of all, the deep core is cool. Now, are you going to put a plastic window on that?
It'll have a clear PET G sheet. It's actually some of my. You got to understand, I was working on some stuff for Greg on the some of the concept vehicles.
I remember that, yeah.
And it's we may be able to reignite it. I don't know. Still kind of playing around with it. And one of the things that he'd asked me to do is could I vacuum form, since I can't print and clear very well, can I vacuum form the windshields? Well, you got to understand what TK560 really means. That's my Stormtrooper designation number is what that is. And 25 years ago, I started vacuum forming Stormtrooper gear and Rebel Fleet Trooper helmets and all that kind of stuff. So I've vacuum formed way longer than I have 3D printed. And so I've got a small vacuum form machine that I can vacuum form small parts on. And so I've got boxes. In fact, this stack over here, that's all sheets of vacuum form plastic. And it just so happens to be just about the perfect thickness for a flat windshield that will go. I don't know if I got a spare door on this or not, but yes, this I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm going to take it apart here real quick.
Yeah, let me blow you up here and you can show everybody.
So, you know, this is the one section here. This is the spinning cone section there. This is the intermediate section. And that's going to be a kit that you can put together. And then this is the door section. And on the inside, I don't know if you can see it or not, I've got little tabs here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And those are set up so you just snap the clear acrylic or clear PETG in there. So yeah, that's this is real close. I've got a launch vehicle component that I'm still working on. It was loosely based off of my Space-O-Matic chassis with some Jerry Anderson inspired struts and that sort of stuff to kind of hold it in a launch kind of position that you could play around with. Robert DeCastro commented that it probably needs to be a little bit bigger. It seemed to be a little bit undersized for it, so I've scaled it up some, and so I'm working on that. So,
yeah, I know when you and I talked for a little while on those concept vehicles. So I've set aside money for those concept vehicles.
Well, here's part of one here. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Oh my word. Yeah, that's dope.
So the windshield again is kind of the big beat down. The rest of it's pretty much there, but the windshield's problematic. And then there's some licensing issues that have to be worked out. So right now it's just a cool idea, but it's just sitting there. Most of the model work is done. So I'm waiting for a green light from Greg if we can proceed on this or not. So.
Wow, dude, that is a lot of stuff to process. Woof. I'm just like, woof.
It's fun,
amazing.
man. I mean, if you're stressed out with life and
oh, I know
you're looking for something else to do and you need to get your brain occupied on something else, that's jumping into a CAD file and working out wrinkles and details is something that helps you unwind. It helps me unwind anyway.
That's good.
I don't go out dancing and karaokeing very much. My wife does, but I don't. But
unfortunately, I spend all day on a computer drawing on CAD. So,
man, you ought to be a pro at this, man.
Well, I should be. I should be. I should be actually. It's one of my coworkers was laughing the other day. He's like, all the stuff that you draw on every day. He's like, and you're sitting there complaining about these 3D CAD files, and I'm like, whatever, man. That's just who I am. Hey, before we keep going, let's take a look in the comments and see who all we got here. We got obviously the Canadian crippler Murray Corrigan's here, who's going to be on
Murray,
the next show.
Yeah, I remember Murray.
I love it. Can't wait to talk to him. We got Action Joe Figs. He's a former tech, or not a former. He's a fellow Texan with you down there. Koss.
Yep. Yeah, some of these names I recognize. There's some guy named Paul on here. I think I remember him. How you doing, Paul?
Paul Knapp, the original, the OG live streamer. He's doing really well with that Soldier Tuesday night show.
Yeah, he's got the little Army Man version.
He's got some wild guests on there, man. It's pretty wild. Stacey Armstrong's joining us tonight.
Yeah, hey Stacey, I'm glad you're on. I think somewhere in my pile of stuff I've got your tail wing for the Irwin Panther jet, so it's almost ready. So,
the thing about Stacey is, if you've been watching Paul's show, his Stacey's background gets smaller and smaller every show. It looks like. No.
Fun stuff. Yeah, I've got. Besides G.I. Joe collecting, I also collect Coleman lanterns. So I got a pile of them back here. So.
Oh, new vintage ones?
Oh yeah, my oldest one's from like 1927. It's nearly 100 years old.
I got one from probably the 1970s. My dad had when he was a scout leader.
Oh yeah.
I had to use it a few years ago when we had that Duresha roll through. And that thing's bright.
Oh yeah,
that thing's real bright.
When my son and I go camping, we break out 3 of these vintage ones. The oldest one's from the 50s, and they run all night. You can't kill them.
Man, see, we got Paul, of course, in there, and then Ed Kozak from Action Figs. Join us tonight. Right. Yep.
Good to see everybody. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good crowd. I'm sure we're gonna have more people for jumping in as we move on down the line. So I would ask you about the boat motor. So when I saw you had the boat motor on Etsy, I went ahead and assumed it doesn't have the motor in it. I mean,
no, I don't really put that in there.
Now,
you can't. The cap does come off and it is hollow. So
yeah, I was going to ask you, can you, if a guy wanted to, because I have 3 or 4 boat motors, right, with just different parts, but the motor still runs. But the spring shaft that goes down in there is still good, but it's missing a propeller.
Yep.
Would you be able to print 2 halves that you could glue together and put all that stuff on?
I don't know. We'd have to kind of play around with it.
That's a good question, because that's one of the questions I was going to ask you. It's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about tonight. Is like, I got these motors, and that would be something that would be interesting if you could split it in half, and then figure out. Take off the pieces from that other motor and just retrofit them to that one to make it work. But I don't know. It'd be an interesting challenge.
There probably are some inside dimensions that would need some help. And then, obviously there's a battery that's in there as well that would require some kind of wiring and
you'd have to
brass
just
tab.
have the housing with the terminals and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, that's
So there's a little nuance there. I don't know.
yeah, maybe that's a little bit more difficult than what I was thinking. So,
Yeah, fun. But yeah, it's a cool idea. Fun
ha-
stuff.
have you modeled the Mercury space capsule yet?
Only in rough form so that I could build the stands and
Yeah.
accurate dimensions on the stand. So I have this real primitive version of it.
Uh huh.
You know, I got asked once upon a time, hey, can you make the door that opens or a replacement door that looks like the hull, and you know those sorts of things, kind of like the I guess it was the timeless Friendship 7 or whatever that
Mm-hmm.
was. Yeah, that you know it didn't have a clear canopy. It had a one that looked like the rest of the hull of the vehicle. So um, I've only just done very basic model work for that. So what were you wanting me to do?
No, I was just wondering if you'd modeled that yet. I mean, I think that I knew you'd modeled the stand. The stand, it's funny. I don't know. I mean, I love the vintage space capsule, but I figured at some point in time you'd make one that looked just like the Mercury space capsule, and just have that out there.
Well, I made the stand, and I actually worked up about 5 different versions of the stand.
Uh-huh.
One of them was like landing gear. And so that took me off on a whole rabbit hole of making it so that
Ooh.
the capsule was a lander now, kind of Major Matt Mason style.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, well, how's this capsule supposed to get to the moon? So I had to come up with this Orion drive for it, and it went on the top of it. And so I turned the capsule into this whole other thing. So
Put it on the back burner.
yeah, these are big parts and they take forever
Oh
to build.
yeah.
And I'm still working out some of the details on them. But I do have a lander stand. You know, it's got the round pads
Uh-huh.
with the skeletonized struts and that sort of thing. So
I
fun.
uh I love the stand. I'm looking at it over here. It's on my shelf with the space capsule. That's one of my popular videos, and I got that from you and I reviewed it.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I don't know. I mean, people love that video. Like, uh, it's cool. It's a neat thing. I've been wanting to take my capsule to work and just display it at work, but I don't know. I like
Well,
it there on my shelf here.
somebody asked, hey, can you do one where the capsule's at an angle? And I'm
I
like,
saw that.
yeah, I can, because that was one of the 5 that I had done or up originally. So I went ahead and finished my quality assurance tests on it and made sure it was going to work the way I wanted it. And so it's out there now as well.
I want to get something I can take my astronaut and then have like some kind of wire armature that comes out of the capsule to like
Oh,
have him
that'd be
like
cool.
he's hanging out. I've
Yeah.
been looking at ways to do that, but I really haven't invested a lot of time in it lately. I've been spending a lot of time doing a bunch of other stuff in my workshop right now, creating too many things.
Oh yeah. I
I'm
know
getting ready
all
to I'm getting ready to do a video on making a Sasquatch from scratch, like I
oh my.
like the 2 I've made, showing everybody how I do it. So,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Is that 1/6 scale? So that
yeah, it's
okay.
15 inches tall.
Okay.
So I will actually show everybody how I make the armature skeleton,
Okay.
build out the volume of his muscles, and then sculpt the face out of clay.
Oh wow.
Because I mean, I know I was talking with Stacy about it. Like, he does a lot of stuff on Blender to make faces. I sculpt everything out of poly clay.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to do it because it's kind of therapeutic for me
Oh
to
yeah.
actually sculpt it. So I'm going to try to do all that and do a whole video on that so everybody can see how I do it. And then I'm gonna put the fur on it and everything. So now that Joanne Fabrics is going out of business, I'm going to have to go there this weekend and buy a bunch of fabric and fur.
You know, have you ever heard of spoon flower?
Oh yeah, I wear all my camouflage that
Okay.
I make my outfits from. Like, I think I sent you that one camouflage
Yep,
outfit.
you sure did. I've
That's
got him on the
spoon
figure
flower.
upstairs. That's the cool stuff. And for folks that don't know, Spoonflower is a fabric company online that you can upload camo or any pattern to, and they'll make fabric prints out of it. And there's a number of people that have uploaded 1/6 scale, like the old duck boat pattern camouflage.
Uh-huh.
You know, the bunch of German camouflage from World War II. I mean, there's a lot of really neat stuff that's over on Spoonflower. Now it's not real cheap, but it's actually pretty cool that you can get that. So
We got this Back to the Future says he got some stuff from me and loves them. So
oh yeah, well that's awesome. All right, we got a quote here. Yeah, what's here?
he's got. Can you read? Do you see it?
Yeah, it's moving fast here, and I'm from Texas, so I read slow as well as talk. Well, thanks so much. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome stuff. I appreciate that.
We got Ernie's Attic. He just jumped in with us, so
All right.
we get some more guys on here. Yeah, Spoonflower is interesting because this is what I like to do. I I'm one of those people who likes to go against the grain. I like to find unique things that nobody else is doing, and I like to do that. I'm always trying to stay in my own pond.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to get on Spoonflower, and I like to go find all these wacky artists who have camouflage, and they have just weird camouflage. And then I'll send them a message, and I'll ask them if they'll convert that to 1/6 scale. And then we'll go back and forth, and then I'll tell them what I'm doing, and they absolutely every time say, yeah, for sure. And then I've bought, there's a couple of girls over in Europe who have made 1/6 scale camouflage for me. And I've got the stuff over at my seamstress's house right now. And we're getting ready to do a big sewing project here coming up. I've got a bunch of stuff that she's getting ready to sew for me. So she's got to finish up a couple quilts, but then we're gonna hopefully at the end of this month we're gonna do a big sew.
Okay.
For like 2 weeks, and she's gonna sew a bunch of stuff for me because I got 2 or 3 videos right now I'm trying to finish, but I need the stuff sewn for the videos to finish it. And I'm over there going, hey, what are you doing right now? You're not doing anything now. She's always she naps all day, so I got to give her nap time.
I really wish that was a skill that I had, was sewing and being able to do uniforms and equipment. I partnered with a guy who he will go nameless just because he doesn't want the spotlight, but he's a collector up north, and he does a few things. We're working. The first project we collaborated on was, and I don't know if I've got any around here or not, the mysterious explosion or whatever that is, the white and red stretcher.
Yeah, I remember the stretchers.
And so he did a fantastic job on that. And then I started remaking the bunk beds, and I needed him to make me the canvas for the bunk beds. And so we worked that out. And then he started doing pillows and sheets and blankets and all that kind of stuff for the bunk bed sets. And so you can get a deluxe set that has, fabric stuff on it. And I'm looking at this going, wow, I can't even sew a straight line. I don't know how people do make complete uniforms, especially small scale 1/6 stuff. That's just, I really salute those folks. So that's really something I don't know anything about.
Yeah. My mom will be 79, I think, in September. So it's a testament to her that she can still sew all that stuff. Because
wow.
I think that's how she stays. I think that's how she stays so young in her mind, is that she sews all day. She makes a quilt for my son every year for his birthday. I probably have a dozen quilts. I'm actually going to do a video on all the quilts, a collection close up on all of our quilts.
Man. That is super cool.
Oh, she's made some quilts that are wicked intricate. Like, I'm like, dang, man. Yo. So I got to ask you, since last time we spoke, has the Etsy shop just been exploding?
It comes and goes. What's kind of funny is all the stuff that we do is discretionary income stuff. I mean, nobody needs any of this.
100%.
Any of my stuff, and nobody needs any of it.
You're preaching to the choir right now, man.
And so it's sort of like you can tell when people have extra money laying around and when they don't. Because you can watch the month of, okay, well, first of the month, some sales came in, it tapers off. And then the 15th, obviously people are getting paid on the 15th. Well, so it spikes up a little bit and then it tapers off. It's real lean that last week of the month, and then you can kind of, if you chart this over time, you can see, ups and downs and ebbs and flows. And, historically, even for retail, January, February, March are some of the worst sales months of the year. So yeah, it's real quiet. There's not much happening in the store right now. It's a good time for me to catch up on orders and come up, try to get some new stuff, new product listed. So.
Well, I set a goal for myself at the beginning of the year. I'm like, I'm not going to buy anything unless I sell stuff to finance my buying stuff.
Yeah.
Japanese Syndico auctions has ruined that for me. I don't even want to discuss what I've spent on that. And I'm ashamed of myself. And I'm ashamed of myself every morning when I get up. It's funny. I quit drinking. I quit drinking at the beginning of the year. And I'm like, oh, this is going to save me, a few dollars every week. I'm not buying like a 6-pack or something. And it has. But then that money has been spent in Japan where it does not need to be spent.
Oh my goodness. Well,
don't ever get in on that. Don't ever go there. Don't ever do it.
I've collected miscellaneous stuff all over for decades, and I got into replica prop making once upon a time. You're talking about a wild rabbit hole to go down.
Oh, I bet.
My gosh. The first one that I did was the Luke's lightsaber. Well, you got to understand it was made from a 1940s camera part. Flash is what it's made from. Well, to do it right, you've got to find the original Graflex, which was the brand flash handle. Those hadn't been made in 80 years. They don't exist. And every once in a while, if you find one in an old camera shop or something, somebody wants a fortune for it because everybody realized you can start making, Star Wars lightsabers out of these antique camera parts. Well,
wow.
and so it's crazy that the stuff that you go through to try to, do it the way the original prop makers made it. So that was long before I got into 1/6 scale stuff. I was collecting GI Joes and doing full scale costume stuff. So yeah, I know the rabbit hole you can go down it's in anything that you do. It sounds like you've gone down the Japanese whatever that is. I don't even know how to say it.
Yeah, Syndico auctions. Did you make a Did you make a lightsaber? Did you find one?
Yeah.
You found that part?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, man! Let's see that thing. Yeah. All right, I'll blow you up here. Let's take a look at this. Holy smokes, dude!
Yeah, this is the real Graflex. I don't know if you can see that on there. You can see the
it's got the etched in stuff. What year is that from?
This is from 1938. That's
and is that Vader's or Luke Skywalker's?
This is Luke's. This is like what you would have seen in the snow when he first uses the Force to drag the lights. He's stuck in the ceiling. Yeah.
Holy shit! You built that, huh?
Yeah. That's a Graflex flash gun. This is a computer part. It's for like a daughter card for a computer. These are they're called T-strips, and the original ones didn't have these rivets in it. And for the original Star Wars movie, but in Empire they kept falling off in the cold weather, so they riveted them on. And these are like windshield wiper blades. So anyway, fun stuff. The replica prop stuff was just an awful lot of fun. But it turned into just a real money pit. Oh my gosh. You want to build a Star Wars Stormtrooper E11 blaster. Well, it's a Sterling L2A3 machine gun is what it is.
Yep.
It's what it is. But to do it right, you've got to find a Sterling L2A3 machine gun that's been demilitarized so that we can get them in the country. And
did you build one of those?
Yeah.
All right, what haven't you built?
Oh, not much. It's kind of dusty here, but
oh, dude, that is freaking crazy.
These scopes are actually M4 Sherman tank scope. It's real dirty. Is actually a real tank scope from World War II. That's from a Sherman tank. That was real hard to find. And he just so happened to be a guy about 25 years ago selling some on eBay from apparently the Brazilian army was getting rid of their Sherman tanks and they were decommissioning the parts off them. I picked one. I mean, it's a crazy rabbit hole. I won't even tell you about the M41A pulse rifle from Aliens. That was an insane one to build because that's two different guns that you got to put together on that one.
So were you building these? Were you doing like cosplay? Were you dressing up to go to cons or anything, or just build them to have them?
I was always a movie prop fan.
Holy shit! You got a museum at your house?
You notice it's all back there. You can probably see his tricorder sitting on the shelf there. There's a phaser.
God. That lightsaber is just I'm just kind of speechless about that lightsaber. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's awesome, man.
If you're going to make a replica prop, you got to do it the right way. So, you know.
I'm not surprised with the way you do all your 3D printing stuff. I am not surprised you would have a complete replica of all that stuff. That is impressive, dude. I don't know what to say. That's awesome.
Thanks,
what's the most difficult prop that you've built?
The M41A pulse rifle.
The pulse rifle. And that's is that from the first Alien movie?
Second Alien.
Aliens, okay, yeah. With Bill Paxton.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And basically what they did was they took a Remington 870 shotgun.
Okay.
And they took an M1A Thompson machine gun. And they mounted the Remington shotgun under the Thompson. And then they added a cowling that was green, brownish green. And that was the pulse rifle. And trying to find deactivated Thompson machine guns and Remington 870 shotguns, and then how do you make the cowlings and the grips and all that had to be hand fabricated. A lot of hand fabrication in that one, and that one took 2 years to hunt the parts down on.
So how did you know how to put it all together? Just kind of just eyeball it, or
what's real interesting was and I know this doesn't have anything to do with G.I. Joe or 160.
Who cares?
Bapsy was an armorer in England that the UK film industry used for a lot of their replica or weapons for use in film. And since a lot of Aliens was filmed in England, that's who they used to produce the weapons designs. And they had some detailed pictures that they had taken, I guess, as they were proofing it out to James Cameron. And so you could see how they had put it together because these pictures existed once upon a time. There used to be a discussion forum back when that was a thing called the Replica Prop Forum.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Adam Savage was in there.
Yep.
He back before Mythbusters really took off. And so that's all everybody talked about was how do you they're trying to build a whatever from whatever. And so there was all these industry experts that were over on that forum that would tell you how they did it. And so you learn a lot about having to scratch build, handcraft stuff, make stuff from resin, silicone molds, you name it. I mean, it was a whole craft. I built my first vacuum form machine based off advice from the Replica Prop Forum. So,
wow. See, I think I used to listen to a couple of podcasts that would have some guys from the Replica Prop Forum on there. I can't remember who the guy was. He's got a big company now. Not Retro Robot, or I can't remember what his name was. He does a lot of prop stuff and resells it, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But yeah, that's a wild thing. I a lot of respect for you guys that do that stuff because that's like a whole nother level of like obsession and collector.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the sad thing is you really can't collect movie props. Not really. I mean, the prices for the real stuff is so astronomically high. And, for years and years and years, a lot of these props have been missing. They disappeared off the set when the production was finished. So they didn't really exist anymore. I think the Blade Runner blaster just showed back up just after being missing for like 40 years. It just all of a sudden popped out of nowhere. And so now people can examine it and actually get a real sense of what it really looks like now. And so
Sean Huckster's in here. He said Regal Robot. That's who I was thinking. And yes, Regal Robot's the guy I was thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah, he makes a lot of props.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
See, I
Very
just
cool.
knew that years ago. And, you know, when 3D printing came along, it's like, wow, I should 3D print some movie props. That's no fun.
Yeah.
It's,
Well,
it's too easy.
I'll tell you a challenge. I'll tell you a challenge I would love all you 3D printer and creators to come up with. And I don't know if we should have a contest one of these days, maybe get Greg Brown involved and all these other guys. We need to make an adventure team standard rifle.
Cool. Yeah.
Like a more of a modern one. I'll tell you the platform I love. I've been looking for a 3D model of it to print, but Ruger makes an LCR carbine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a small carbine, it's a 5.5 or 5. God dang it! It's not 5.56. It's that